The Truth About Bats by Margaret Asher. At the Bat Cave. It was dusk. Iris stared at the thick black ribbon streaking across the sky. It looked like a heavy plume of smoke, but it wasn't. It was bats, thousands and thousands of them. Every evening, the bats flew from the caves where they lived into the nearby jungle. There, they would spend the night eating insects, returning home at dawn. Iris was fascinated by all the bats, but she was also afraid. She was worried that a bat would swoop out of the sky and bite her. She was afraid that one might land in her hair. Iris wasn't sure why she was afraid. Maybe it was the way bats looked and the scary things she had heard about them. She had heard that bats were like vampires who wanted to suck your blood. They would land on your head and get tangled in your hair. Their bites could be deadly. Watching the ribbon of bats in the sky, Iris began to wonder, what was true about bats and what wasn't? How afraid of them did she really need to be? Caption on page 2. Iris and her family watched the bats at a national park in Thailand, a country in Asia. But streams of bats like this can be seen in other places in the world too. Caption on page 3. There are more than 1,200 kinds of bats in the world. The smallest is the bumblebee bat found in Thailand and nearby countries. This bat weighs less than a penny. What should we believe about bats? Like Iris, you may be afraid of bats. It makes sense. Bats come out only at night. They fly in an odd, fluttery way, not like most birds. But many of the things people believe about bats are untrue. They're myths. So what's the truth about bats? Take a look at these 5 common beliefs about bats and find out if they are true or not. Bats want to drink your blood. Myth. Most bats eat other insects or fruit. Some eat very small animals. Out of more than 1,200 species or types of bats in the world, only 3 drink blood. These 3 are found in Mexico, Central America, and South America. Bats that drink blood are known as vampire bats. They feed on blood from cows, pigs, horses, or large birds. Vampire bats do have scary, sharp, pointy teeth. They do have the word vampire in their name, but they are not interested in humans and very rarely bite them. Caption: Vampire bats may look scary, but they are rarely dangerous. A vampire bat's body is only a little larger than a human thumb. Bats are blind. Myth. People may believe bats are blind because bats come out only at night. In fact, all bats have eyes and can see. But they don't use their eyesight to get around in the dark. Instead, they use their ears. Bats use echolocation to find their way around, just like dolphins and whales do. Bats send out high-pitched sounds and listen for the echoes bouncing off objects around them. That's how they tell where things are in the dark. Bats get tangled in your hair. Myth. This belief is common the world over. Some people even think that if a bat gets tangled in your hair, you'll go bald. Others think it will make your hair turn gray. None of these beliefs are true, however. Bats do not get tangled in people's hair. So how did this myth develop? When bats are chasing insects, they sometimes fly very low over people's heads. This can be scary, and it may seem as though the bat is going to land on your head, but it won't. Thanks to echolocation, the bat knows exactly where it's going. Caption page 6. This large bat is known as a flying fox. Its wings, when unfolded, can span more than 5 feet. Caption page 7. A bat squeaks bounce off objects, creating echoes. The bat uses the echoes to navigate in darkness. Bats are rodents. Myth. Rodents are a group of small animals that include rats, mice, and squirrels. Many people think bats belong to this group too, because bats have bodies that look similar to rats and mice. So even though bats can fly, they look more like flying mice or rats than like birds. But while it's true that bats aren't birds, they aren't rodents either. Bats are mammals. All mammals have fur or hair and feed their young with milk. Rodents are mammals too, but that's where the similarities end. Bats are no more rodents than people are. In fact, bats are different from all other mammals because they are the only mammals that fly. Bats carry rabies. Truth. There is truth to this belief. Some bats do carry rabies, a deadly disease that humans can get from an animal bite. A bat can get rabies from another animal that has it, just like a cat or a dog can. But while it is possible for a bat to have rabies, it isn't likely. Most bats don't have rabies. You can't tell if a bat has rabies by looking at it, however, so to be safe, you should never touch a bat. Caption page 9. Most bat mothers have only one baby a year. Good guys. As it turns out, though bats might appear scary, there is not much to be afraid of. In fact, bats are useful creatures. They help the environment and people in several ways. Fruit bats are bats that eat fruit. These bats spread seeds from the fruits they eat to new areas. Nectar bats drink nectar, a sugary liquid found in flowers. Like butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds, which are also attracted to nectar, nectar bats spread pollen from flower to flower. Both fruit bats and nectar bats play important roles in tropical rainforests. By spreading seeds and pollen, these bats help the rainforest renew itself. Caption page 11. Fruit bats are useful because they spread seeds. This fruit bat is eating a fig. Bats that eat insects help people by eating bugs that bite. One bat can eat as many as 1,000 mosquitoes in an hour. Mosquitoes are not just annoying, they can also carry diseases. So if a colony of bats lives nearby, it means fewer mosquitoes and less risk of disease. Insect-eating bats also help farmers by eating bugs that damage crops. In fact, no animal eats more night-flying insects than bats. A colony of bats can eat almost 500,000 pounds of insects in a single night. The bats act as a natural pest control. Caption page 12. Bats in danger. A disease called white nose syndrome has been killing large numbers of bats in the eastern United States. Experts are concerned. Without the bats, there will be too many insects. That would create problems for crops and for people. Caption page 13. The pallid bat, named for its pale fur, feeds on scorpions and crickets. This one is eating a scorpion. Even bat poop, known as guano, is useful. Farmers and gardeners use guano as a natural fertilizer. It enriches the soil, which helps plants to grow. Some farmers even build houses for bats in their fields and gardens. They want bats around, eating insects and leaving guano. Furry flying friends. Though some people think of bats as scary looking, other people think they are kind of cute. And in spite of everything you may have heard about them, bats are unlikely ever to harm you. Mosquitoes have much more to fear from bats than you do. So the next time you see a bat, try not to be afraid. Instead, stop and think about all the good they do. The world is better off with bats than without them. Caption page 14. Many gardeners put both birdhouses and bat houses in their backyards. Caption bottom of page 14. Scientists are working to protect and conserve bat colonies around the world. These scientists in Spain are studying a colony of gray, long-eared bats.